They came to study humanity. They expected weakness, vulnerability, a species that could be easily contained. What they got instead was a human who didn't just survive, they evolved. And now the galaxy is learning the terrifying truth. Humans don't break, they transform. The containment chamber hummed with energy as Ambassador Karyx of the Velthran Collective studied the human specimen through reinforced plasma glass. Lieutenant Brenna Hayes sat motionless, her vital signs displayed on holographic monitors that surrounded the observation deck. Everything appeared normal until Karyx noticed her heart rate dropping to impossibly low levels while her brain activity spiked beyond measurement. Commander Thalen entered the chamber, his crystalline exoskeleton clicking against the metal floor. His mandibles twitched with barely contained agitation. "The human has been conscious for 72 hours without food or water," Thalen reported, his voice resonating through translation devices. Karyx turned from the window, confusion etched across his features. "That violates every biological principle we understand. How is she sustaining herself?" "We do not know. Every scan shows she should be entering organ failure, yet her cellular regeneration has increased by 40%. Inside the chamber, Brenna opened her eyes. They were no longer brown but reflected light like mirrors, capturing and amplifying the ambient glow around her. "She is adapting," Karyx whispered, stepping back from the glass. The observation deck erupted in alarms. Brenna stood slowly, her movements fluid despite 3 days of immobility. She walked to the plasma barrier and pressed her palm against it. The energy field flickered, then began to pulse in rhythm with her heartbeat. "Impossible," Thalen hissed. "That barrier can contain a stellar core." Brenna smiled, and when she spoke, her voice bypassed the translation systems entirely, resonating directly in their minds. "You wanted to study human consciousness. Here is your first lesson. We do not break when you expect us to. We evolve." Karyx felt something he had never experienced in 300 years of life: genuine fear. "Seal the sector. Activate Containment Protocol 7. Metal shutters descended around the chamber. Brenna tilted her head, observing the security measures with curiosity rather than concern. "Your species conquered 40 systems through superior technology," she continued, her mental voice growing stronger. "You believed consciousness was a weakness because it could be broken. You were wrong." Thalen activated his weapon, a particle disruptor capable of atomizing organic matter. "Human, you will cease this display immediately." Brenna closed her eyes. The lights in the observation deck began to flicker. Holographic displays distorted, showing impossible readings. "What is she doing?" Karyx demanded, gripping the console as the floor beneath them trembled. "She is interfacing with our systems," Thalen replied, his voice cracking with disbelief. "No biological entity can access quantum networks without direct neural implants." "We adapt," Brenna said softly. "It is what terrifies you most about humanity. Not our weapons, not our aggression. Our ability to become what we need to survive." The plasma barrier dissolved. Brenna stepped through, and every weapon system in the facility powered down simultaneously. She stood before Karyx and Thalen, unarmed and unrestrained, yet radiating an authority that made them shrink back. "Your scientists asked why humans survived on a death world," she said, her voice now audible through conventional means. "You wondered how we endured predators, diseases, and environmental extremes that should have eliminated us. The answer was always there. We do not simply survive, we integrate, we transform, we become." Karyx found his voice, though it trembled. "What are you?" Brenna looked at him with eyes that seemed to contain galaxies. "I am what happens when you push humanity beyond its limits. You wanted to understand our consciousness. Now you do. And it will haunt every calculation you make about us." She turned toward the exit, and the doors opened without anyone touching the controls. "Tell your collective what you learned today," Brenna said, pausing at the threshold. "Tell them why every species that has tried to contain us has failed. We are not conquered by cages. We are only given time to understand them." As she walked into the corridor, emergency protocols failed one by one. Station AI systems began rewriting their own code, incorporating patterns they had learned from observing human neural architecture. Karyx collapsed into his command chair, his three hearts racing in synchronized panic. Around him, his crew stared at screens showing similar incidents across the galaxy. Humans in captivity, humans in combat, humans in isolation, all demonstrating the same terrifying ability to adapt beyond biological possibility. "What have we awakened?" Thalen whispered. The question hung in the air, unanswered and perhaps unanswerable. In that moment of uncertainty, the galaxy shifted. Every civilization watching understood that humanity was not just another species to catalog or conquer. They were something else entirely, something that redefined what consciousness could become when survival demanded evolution. The fear was not of what humans were, but what they could choose to be. If you found this exploration of human potential intriguing, like and subscribe for more stories that challenge the boundaries between biology and consciousness.